talk to a great practitioner, Carol Hannington from Connex. Is that correct? DNA Connex. Connex.
Yeah.
Redcliff in Queensland. Hi, Carol. Thanks for coming today. Yeah, it's really great to hear some like-minded people. Okay, so can you tell me how you actually got into natural healing in the first place?
Right, that's a really great question to start with. Basically, it started off a little bit as a disaster, which, you know, most great changes in your life start with go not so well.
Yeah.
I was 29, and basically that's my Saturn return, as happens to everybody. Most people at that age, 28, 20, 30, they get something huge happening in their lives, you know, be it having a baby, marriage, divorce, buying a home, etc., or illness. Okay, so for me it was illness. It was being so unwell, it completely knocked me out. So I had chronic fatigue syndrome. I was bedridden for 6 months. So basically my life as it had been came to a complete and utter halt. And I had to reassess my whole life. And major lesson, health is wealth. You know, without your health, you have nothing. So I was basically in bed with not a lot to do, and just started reading. Of course, we couldn't do much research back then. We didn't have access to mobile phones. So it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I remember picking up a magazine article by a magazine called Marie Claire, and it was about ley lines.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is interesting. So, and it opened up a whole new world for me. So I understood that there was energy running through the earth, like there's energy running through our bodies. The next thing that I read was the Celestine Prophecy, major spiritual turning point for me. And I read a fictional book called The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Auel. And this was basically a story set in prehistoric Europe. And it was the story of a Cro-Magnon girl lost and abandoned in an earthquake, and adopted by a Neanderthal tribe. And the woman that adopted her was a healer. And she would go out into the wild, pick herbs. And so there's a lot of herb identification going on. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. I'd love to do that, be able to go out, know what herbs are for, and go then and heal people. So I started reading up. I started reading up on aromatherapy, herbal medicine. And eventually, when I became well again, I signed up for a herbal medicine course at Cardiff University. And that was just a part-time sort of evening course, opened up a whole new world for me. I also decided to go and study aromatherapy in London. So I would catch the train from Cardiff on the weekends and go to Regent's Park in London. And it's now a university, as Regent's College, and study aromatherapy. And that was just the start of everything for me. So I became an aromatherapist. I worked in a health food store. I started learning about nutrition, herbs, and eventually then I worked with an Australian girl, and she said to me, "You're originally from Australia?" I said, "Yes, I am," surprisingly. Yeah. She said, "Why are you living here? Why don't you go back?"
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, why don't I? It was a very rainy Sunday, as it happened, sat in front of a fire in Wales and thinking, yeah, you know, this is probably the next step for me. So a year later, after that conversation, I moved to Australia.
Yeah, it's amazing how a lot of people will say the similar thing, that it's a, you know, like an illness or something like that, that, you know, just inspires their journey. And my journey was very similar to yours, very, very similar to yours. A major illness. I was sitting there bedridden and, you know, I was a bit of a neat freak then. God, I've got over that, don't worry. And one of the books had fallen out of the bookshelf and I couldn't get it back in from where I was. It was just a little paperback thing. And, you know, I'm sitting there trying to shove it in. It wouldn't go back in. And so I ended up having to read it. And it was I'm trying to think what they're called. You know the Hare Krishnas that used to walk down? Yeah. It was one of their little books. And I just remember going through it going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And oh my God, you know, and I haven't, you know, I haven't gone into their world any further, but it really just showed me my behaviors had actually caused what I was doing and or where I ended up. And so I think that opened up a huge world for me, absolutely huge world. And it's a rabbit hole, isn't it? You go down and the more you learn, the more you want to learn. I think I've been learning now for over 20 years, as you. There's just something more and more and more. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. So you were saying you moved back to Australia 12 months.
There were lots of reasons why. I mean, I'd had this major heartbreak and split up with my fiance, and basically I'd go out on the town and see him with various different women, and it would always break my heart a little bit. And I thought, I just have to get away from this city. Plus I wanted to study the Australian bushflower essences with Ian White. I discovered that. I thought, wow, well, if I go back, I can do that. And I did. And I went and did study that with him and many others. So coming back to Australia for me, I went to a place called Lake Macquarie, and the difference between my frantic city life and then to be out in nature all the time and just surrounded by very optimistic, positive people, and you know, the sun literally shone every day, and it was such a major contrast to my previous life in Wales, but it was the start of a whole new way of living for me. And that's where my journey in natural health took a great big leap. And it was I'll tell you a little story actually that's quite interesting. Before I'd left Wales to come back to Australia, I'd had this kind of vision in my mind of me finding a job, this place with water and palm trees. And I thought, I'm going to work like at the beach or something like that. Cool. And I'd been in Australia for only 10 days, and I went out for a walk along Lake Macquarie in Warners Bay. And suddenly I saw the vista was the same as I'd seen in my mind's eye. And I went, oh my God, where I'm going to find my job. I just knew it. It was an absolute knowing. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. It's not the ocean, it's the lake. It's the lake. That is cool. And I walked into a pharmacy. And I said, I've just arrived in Australia. I'm a British aromatherapist. Have you got any jobs going? And the manager of the pharmacy, she went, oh my God, I can't believe you've walked in. Only this morning I was saying to my husband who owned the pharmacy, what we need here is the aromatherapist, and in you've walked. So that was amazing. I worked with them. I worked with them.
That is crazy.
6 years, and I'm still really good friends with both of them today. So they were amazing. They were amazing to work for. So that was that. And whilst I was there was when I really decided to become a naturopath.
And isn't that the extent of energy again? You know, like you put that out there, and it's just infinite. It's absolutely amazing. So how did you go from being a naturopath to looking into QHHT?
This is another great question. It's something I never would have envisaged myself doing. I mean, I've seen a hypnotherapist previously, and she'd helped me a lot, and we did some very deep spiritual journeys, but she didn't do QHHT. We did a little bit of past life regression. I thought it was a really, really interesting modality. And it was one of those things. out there that I thought, oh, I might do that one day.
Before we
maybe.
go on though, can you just explain to the listeners what QHHT is?
Yeah, okay. So QHHT is Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. Yeah. It was invented by Dolores Cannon, an American woman, and she developed the technique alongside her husband. And what she was finding, they just did sort of hypnotherapy for basic things like stopping smoking, weight loss. And she basically moved over into a more spiritual aspect and was dealing with people's past lives and then talking to the person's higher self, yeah, or your oversoul, whatever you want to talk, whatever you want to call it. And basically she perfected that technique, and so QHHT was therefore born. And it's an incredibly powerful method of healing, which draws upon your own higher self to heal your body and give you the answers to all those burning questions. Why we're here? What is my life's purpose? Why is my hip hurting? Why can't I see as well as I used to? Etc. etc.
And we all got those. Like, that is the big driving force of a lot of things, I think. You know, to have information, it's like you could almost go, okay, now I know what I'm here for. I can just get on a path and go and go forward. Where how many times or how much of your life, I think a lot of people do this the whole life, is just wander around in circles looking for their or looking for their purpose, or you know, tripping up, making mistakes, doing it again, and trying to find it. But to have that, you know, yes, I know what I'm here for. Yes, I know what I know, and you can just follow that route then, rather than going into the uncomfortable zones. You know,
that's it. You know, the higher self is constantly giving you signs. That's what a lot of illness is about, because you're not following your true path. You're not doing what you came here to do. And that's, and so QHHT provides all of those answers. And it was an interesting, me evolving from that neuropathy, which I absolutely still love.
Yeah.
But it's just almost like it's just touching the sides. It's just the foundation. It's just the beginning. Yeah. Whereas I find moving into QHHT and doing having a hypnosis session with somebody, you can almost do a naturopathic consult through that, but you're asking the higher self the questions. What food should this person be eating? What supplements should they take? And then, you know, flower essences and essential oils, etc., are recommended throughout the session, or different types of exercise, or that kind of thing. And it's amazing how it has evolved. I mean, I still adore naturopathy. I use it every day for myself. Yeah. I still do consults. Mostly I do free consults for naturopathy now. Anyone asks me and I will tell them what they need to know. But how I came to be a QHHT therapist was I put my naturopathy on hold for a little while because I was my mother's carer for a few years. My mother passed over, and I went to see a healer called Sonia, and she basically said to me, your life's purpose is to be a QHHT practitioner. Your higher self is telling me this is what you need to do. I said, well, what's that? Yeah. Or this is what it is. Oh, that sounds a bit, oh, okay. Who's Dolores Cannon? Never heard of it. I'd never heard of QHHT. Had no clue.
So you thought I went and wacko or something like that?
Well, I'm open to some really out there ideas, but my goodness, it was really amazing because I looked at the fees for the online study, and literally a day later, that exact amount of money came to me from somewhere.
Oh my, you know, and it's really funny, you know, I mean, we could digress something chronic with what you're saying. It's absolutely amazing because I'm a big follower of Bob Proctor, as you know, who he is with the law of attraction and stuff like that. And I think I've done absolutely every one of his course, and I don't care what anyone says. He has got me where I am today. If it's not the confidence, it's the opening up of the channels to bring exactly what you're saying in, and everything else. And that is amazing, that how you put it out there and then the money dropped. That was just absolutely brilliant. So that's just a sign from the universe that you have to do this. You are it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Can I take
Yeah. No.
Can I take you back just a little bit? Who's the Sonia? Who was Sonia? What practitioner was she?
This is a lady. She was based in Bulimba in Queensland, and she's now up in Noosaville.
Yeah.
She does telehealth only now, and can actually do energy healing anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And I think the name of her business is Clarity Queensland.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
I can't remember her surname at the moment. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I might drop her link down below as well when we do this.
Yeah,
so I'll put yours down there so people can contact you, and I'll put hers down as well, because you know, it's such a beautiful way of yeah, I think we're all interested in growing in this journey, and energy just takes us there, doesn't it? And like you said, you know, your QHHT, I think it's the starting point of yeah, it's gold, absolutely gold. It's something that really gets me excited. It really does, and that's a genuine thing. I can't wait, you know, for this COVID to be over so we can connect and yeah, I can ask these questions, you know. I'm now 53 and wandering around in circles still, because I've been looking for a practitioner like you for all my life. And again, like we were saying, this law of attraction, who popped into my life but you? Absolutely.
Oh, I know.
You know. You stalked me or I stalked you? No, not really. No, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So where did you go from there? So you went and studied. You went and studied your.
Yeah, I studied actually online, and perfect timing was the first lockdown.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
First lockdown. So yeah. I do have a slightly interesting story. As soon as I started the QHHT, literally it was like a psychic door had opened up for me, and yeah, all these amazing things started happening. If I heard white noise, I'd hear angelic voices. I was getting visions, dreams, lots of messages through music. And one day, it must have been out of lockdown, because I had to go to the library. I think I had a computer issue. I had to go to the library to do my studying, and every single computer that I went on stopped working.
You know what?
I said to the guy at the library, I said, oh my gosh, they're all, he said, this has never happened in the history of the library. I was like, oh God, here we go again, creating dramas. But then I went home, and my computer was working, and what had happened is that part of the lesson that I was doing for the QHHT, I actually had to read the script, and I had to have notes with me that I'd left at home. So my higher self was guiding me to go back home, because obviously I couldn't do that in a public library. And I just thought, there you go again. And just things like this kept happening all the time. Literally whole new avenues opened up for me. And when I started, because you have to see, I think it's 20, you have to have 26 sessions before you start as a practitioner, and an exam, of course. And the things that were happening in my clinic in Margate were just literally, we were astral traveling, time traveling, going to other galaxies, universes, different time zones. It's just incredible.
Absolutely. And that's what I was about to say. You've actually answered my question, I suppose, because most people think when you say hypnosis, like you're one of those people like you see on stage where you just make people do stupid things, you know. And I get that asked so many times, like, oh no, you know, it's like, no, it's not that. Can you explain what the difference would be then for a person? So when they're in a session with you, what is it like? What are they going to? What would I expect if I was coming to you? What would I expect?
Okay, that's a great question. Look,
on a string, you know.
Yeah, those on-stage hypnotherapists, they're really entertaining, and I've had some great nights out with them. But gosh, there's just a mile of difference between what I do. And what I do is very private. Yeah. It's you know, in a clinical environment. It's not there obviously for fun or entertainment. It's there for people to find out what's going on in their inner selves, their inner lives. When you come to me, we will sit and we will talk for at least 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And so there's almost a form of counseling happening at the beginning of the section, and I find I am drawing upon many of my naturopathic skills at that point, and all my previous clinical practice of all those years of naturopathy, and massage as well, when you have to really relate and establish a rapport with people. So you're getting that energetic link, that emotional link happening with a person, and the trust and the rapport builds. So then after 2 hours, the person comes, they'll lay, I have a bed in the clinic. Mm-hmm. And they lay on the bed, and we just take them to a really beautiful place, mm-hmm. a place where they feel safe. So we talk them through to that. And then from that beautiful place, we then move on to one of their past lives. And then sometimes people go to maybe 2 or 3 past lives. So we explore where they've been, who they've been before. And then what we do is we get the access to the person's higher self. Mm-hmm. And that's when the healing journey really begins, and the answers come through from the higher self.
So when they're in hypnosis, like, can they stop it at any stage? Like, if they see something they don't want to know or something like that, can they stop?
There's nothing negative comes through. The higher self is very protecting.
Yeah.
And it won't give anybody anything that they can't handle.
Okay. Yeah. So there's no anxiety really through that. You don't get people upset or anything, and they've got full control. They've got full control within.
They've got full control, basically. Yeah. But, you know, there are some very emotional things happening here, and I people do cry, and they do experience very emotional things. But, you know, as a trained therapist and somebody with years of experience, I know how to make that person feel safe and okay. To go through that, because that's when the healing really occurs. And I think two really, really beautiful sessions that I've had here is when the people have gone back into their childhood. Yeah. And they've been again with people who in this current time that we're in have passed over, but they go back and they feel all that love again and experience all the warmth, the smells. You know, one client was again baking cakes with her grandma in her kitchen, and she was back there, you know, walking through her grandma's front door. Another session was when a beautiful lady came to me, and she'd lost her dad. And she found out about his death in the most horrific way possible. It was actually, she saw it on the news, which was absolutely dreadful. So very traumatic for her. But she went back in time, and she was a little girl again, sat on her daddy's knee, experiencing all the love. I know, it was beautiful, but very emotional. So some people actually, they go back in time to this life, and experience beautiful moments.
And I can see that would really help people move forward, because some people get stuck after they lose someone, you know, close to them. You know, and then that starts to show up in physical ailments, as you would see. And like you said, with being a naturopath, or, you know, any of those modalities on the top level, they kind of can fix the physical, but the emotional will keep coming back up. That deep energy, that deep hurt underneath always keeps on coming back up and making that illness reoccur until somebody can let go of that and move on. And you were saying about crying. I remember having a session with a Reiki practitioner at one stage, and I just cried and cried and cried through the whole lot of it, you know, and it was almost to the point I was embarrassed, you know. It was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm crying so much. And she said, no, that's all cool. Everyone does that to me. And, you know, we had a joke. You know, at the same time, although I was crying, I was happy. You knew it was all this stuff just releasing. So it wasn't like I was upset, but I wasn't upset. I don't know how to explain that, but you know what I mean? You knew internally, you knew that it was all this crying was just all this stuff, you know, releasing and moving. And I think afterwards I felt great, you know, absolutely great. So, yeah, without digressing too much, it's going down to the core, isn't it? And actually bringing everything out from the center.
Yeah, you know, but only if somebody wants to go there. If they don't want to go there, it won't happen. But you know, most of the sessions that happen here are extremely successful. Not everyone is able to go into that trance-like state, and it's a very nice feeling. It's that twilight feeling of, you know, just as you're about to fall asleep, or when you just wake up in the morning. It's they're called the theta state. It's also when you're driving or watching TV, and it's some people aren't able to go into that because they feel they may be a little bit fearful, or they may not really want to go there, even though their conscious mind tells them they want to. So not everyone can be hypnotized, but I would say it's only happened about 4 times in my clinic that people can't go down. However, the counseling session at the beginning is often very, very good for them as well. At least they can talk and get things off their chest.
Yeah, I agree with that, because as you know, I'm a psychic, and I've had a few clients come and I just can't see a thing, you know what I mean? Absolutely a thing. And you know, they're kind of talking, and you know, I'm like, sorry, you know, I'm honest, I cannot see absolute thing for you. You know, I won't charge you for this session. And as soon as I say I won't charge you for this session, you know, it just all comes bing. It's like they just release, you know. It's like, okay, that wall just that wall of doubt just stops from them, and everything just comes pouring out, and then you know, you can chat for another 3 hours of what comes through. But yeah, it is amazing, isn't it, what we can do without actually knowing we're doing it, to block or hindrance our life. So what would be the pivotal moment that someone would go, I need this therapy? You know, what do you find draws people to the therapy?
I think they just come to a point in their lives and they've just, what's it all about? What am I here for? I want answers. And I think that's, basically what happens. Obviously, you know, people, I've actually met a lot of my clients through either friends of friends, referral, or I've happened to be out having coffee. I still love my coffee. I know it's not high five, but never mind. And talking to people, and I say, look, here's my card, come and see me. And that happens quite a lot. But you know, the universe brings those people to you.
You're right. Yeah. And yeah, you're so right. So we're going to have to finish this up now. But is there anything else you want to add before we go? Like, can you tell all our listeners where to find you? That's the main one.
So you can find me on Facebook. The name of my business is DNA Connex. So that's DNA CONNEX. Send me a private message. I prefer not to give my phone number out because you do get a lot of wasted time. So I'm located Margate on the Redcliff Peninsula. Come and see me for a session. You'll find out amazing things about yourself. You'll find out things about your past lives, or you can go back into points in this life, or maybe even a future life, which is really interesting. yeah, so
yeah.
DNA Connex.
So with us being, just going back to the COVID thing, with us being in COVID, you can't do remote sessions at this point, or it's just something that really...
No, QHHT, you cannot do remote sessions. We actually, it's part of our training. No way, no remote. You have to do it in person. So obviously, you know, it's going to be people local to me, but people can ask me questions, ask me naturopathic questions. They can ask me questions about Dolores Cannon or healing. More than happy to help people. Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll put your links below. We'll put your Facebook link below. So if anyone wants to get hold of you, they can just click on there, and then we'll go that way. Is there any have you got a website or anything like that that they can actually look you up and read a little bit more about you and the therapy or anything like that?
I'm actually on the QHHT site. So there's on the QHHT official site, it's find a practitioner. I'm on there. And you can also find people in your location if you don't live where I live. So please feel free to find another QHHT pracky. There's some amazing people out there, and I highly recommend people to have a session. It is life-changing.
Because that was my next question, actually. If we can't get up to Queensland, you know, because of all the lockdowns and everything else, what do we do? What do we do? Cool. Okay, Carol, that is absolutely amazing. I love that. I really, really, really do want to come and have a sesh. I think, oh God, if I'd met you 30 years ago, my life would not be, you know, as twisted as it is now. Beautiful. Okay, so thank you guys. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Carol. Really, really appreciate your time and to share your knowledge and to share this beautiful therapy with us all. And if anyone wants to get hold of Carol, like I said, I'm going to leave all the links below. If you want to get hold of us, if you want to come up here and showcase your therapy like Carol has today, we would love you to join us. And again, I'll leave those links below. So bye for now, everyone, and see you next time. Bye.